Hey guys, welcome to So Basic or welcome back. It's Irene. We're going to do a quick unboxing of this Amazon Prime Day item that I got from my mom for her birthday. It is the it is the Rove R2 4K dual, and dual as in front and rear. She originally had the red tiger and it worked from 2022 until about 2025, and then now the front camera is busted, which is very unhelpful. So this is going to replace that. I just want to run through some of the criteria that I had. There's so many dash cams on Amazon, which is a good and bad thing, right? So one of the criteria that I was looking for was what, if any, night vision qualities or capabilities does this dash cam have? And for this particular one, there was Sony Starvis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it is one of like the top technologies that they use to make the quality of your night vision recording better. So it makes the images clearer. It deals with the glare from the headlights and other bright street lights while still making sure that there's clarity. Because, anytime you're doing anything night vision, it tends to be very blurry, slightly off-colored, all those kinds of things. And Sony Service is a technology that's really excellent. This is the Sony Starvis 2, so it's an even better technology than the Sony Starvis, which is just the original. So I'm excited about that. My mom is older, so she doesn't prefer to drive at night, but that's why I think this quality of camera is really great, because if she does drive at night, she'll have something that is able to sort of help her out and make sure that she stays safe on the road. As in, if anything does happen, she'll have quality video to help her out. It's only Sony Starvis 2 on the front camera for this particular dash cam. They do have another camera model. It was significantly more expensive and was not on Amazon Prime sale. And that one had Sony Starvis 2 on both the front and rear, and that's very rare. Most Sony Starvis technology, even if you're lucky enough to have it for a dash cam, is usually in the front camera. The next quality that I was looking for is the number of cameras. I needed to have front and back, because usually when you're doing any sort of reporting or anything like that, you do need to have footage for both, especially if someone like rear ends you. It's really important to have that, not only to capture the license plate of the car that rear ended you, but to also prove like fault and things of that nature. So it's important to have the rear camera to prove fault. I was gonna buy her the one that had 3 cameras. It was the front, the interior cabin, and then the rear. But I know my mom would get like really antsy about that, so I opted for this one because it's only dual, so just the front and the rear. Wi-Fi. So a lot of the older technology is Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, which is common in a lot of household smaller electronics. Usually when you're getting to something like the newer television and computers, they try to do Wi-Fi 5 or 6. So this one has a dual band, so it does both 5 and 2.4, so it will be backward compatible. So if you have an older phone or older device that you're trying to connect with via Wi-Fi, you can still do that. But I like the option to have 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, because then if she is needing to download any footage from the camera, she can do so, and do so in a reasonable time. I have, I think I put the dash cam review for the one that I use in my car, the R Edge. I forget the name of it, but just go through my video catalog, you'll find it. That one's a 2.4. It's not slow. It doesn't take forever, but I do it on a 3-minute loop, and it does take probably a good minute or so for it to download via Wi-Fi connection. So this one should technically be faster, and I'm happy for that. The other thing that I really liked about this is that oftentimes when you have smaller electronics, software is everything. So if you're not able to do regular updates for firmware and things that the company has, it could impact the way that it works. And a lot of the older dash cams, you actually have to, or even some of the other ones that don't have this capability, you do have to plug it in, and then be on the computer, drop and download the firmware update, drop it on the SD card, put it in the dash cam, and or you have to connect the dash cam to a computer, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, you don't have to do that with the Rove. You can just literally do it over Wi-Fi. So that's great. The way that they described it is over-the-air firmware update. Basically, you just need their app. So that actually reminds me of the next thing. I also wanted a dash cam that had a compatible app that's relatively easy to use and is helpful. And a lot of the reviews said it was pretty straightforward. Some people had trouble with their Rove app, but overall there seems to be a consensus that it was pretty usable and helpful. Oh, the quality of the image. So these are both, it's 4K in the front and 1080p in the back. And that's actually pretty common. It seems like the rear camera, for some reason, they always just have like the lesser quality, which I don't know if that's per se a good vibe, because I mean, if you get rear-ended, you'd want quality footage as well. But I'm guessing that they assume that there's less detail coming from behind. I don't know. But most dash cams, if you're lucky, it's 4K in the front and 1080p in the back. Some of the other ones are 4K on both, or 4K in the front and 2K in the back. But I thought for our intensive purposes, 4K in the front was a must. 1080 is fine. The viewing angle of the dash cam is also really important. I wanted to do something as good, if not better, than my mom's old dash cam, which is this one has a 150 front wide angle, and then this one has a 140 rear angle, and I thought that was at least the bare minimum. I think some of the other ones are like 170 in the front and 160 in the back, but you want enough of an angle to capture all the action, because if you're only having a narrow field of vision and you can't show what's happening over here, like if someone's changing lanes and hitting you, sideswiping you without a signal, if it's not wide enough, you won't be able to see it until there's impact. So there's a lot of those little details that you can miss if you don't have a wide enough angle. So I think that's an important enough characteristic to consider when you're buying a dash cam. GPS capabilities, not all dash cams have that. Some claim it, but some depend on certain technologies, like having access to data or Wi-Fi in order to do that, and when are you going to always have that when you drive? This one has built-in GPS, so that's helpful in case you have to prove that you were at a certain place, or your accident happened in a certain location. He said, she said, now you have something that actually will prove it. And my mom's old dash cam, even though it's busted, was actually helpful. She unfortunately got into several accidents, all which happened to not be her fault, but people were very unscrupulous. They claimed that she caused the accident, and luckily we're able to just pull out the footage and say, nope, you rear-ended her, and here's the video from both angles. The other thing that I was thinking about was the storage capacity, the amount of storage supported on the device, on the dash cam. And you're like, why does that matter? Here's why. So most dash cams take micro SD cards in order to, unless they have internal storage, but even if they have internal storage, you're probably going to want more. So most dash cams have a micro SD slot. You can buy them from almost any other manufacturer, but they have to be the high endurance kind, because you're going to constantly read and write, and you don't want one that's like low level. This Rove actually comes with one. I think they give like 128 gigabytes for free, their version of the SD card. So that's really cool. That's very nice of them. I got my mom a very nice Samsung EVO one. Even though there were some SD card errors, I have a feeling it might have been the Red Tiger, but we'll see. Once I put it in a different dash cam, if the problem still persists, then it's the SD card. If it's completely goes away with this one, then it's probably the Red Tiger dash cam. Anyways, so this one actually supports up to 1 terabyte micro SD. We're probably going to go with the one that I got her, which I think is 256 gigabytes. If this one, the 128, happens to be a bigger capacity, we'll use this one. But it's important because what happens with a lot of dash cams is they read and write, and then once it runs out of space, it'll start recording over it. So the more space you have, the less it records over it, so the longer all your videos get stored. So in case something happens and you don't realize someone dented your car or dinged it or something, or I don't know, you're somewhere and you have to prove that you've been somewhere, you can go back to that footage. The longer you'll just have that footage before it gets written over.
Oh,
So other components of dash cams to look for is the G-Shock and looping. So as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, most dash cams have this technology. It's called G-Shock. I don't know if it's a colloquial term that just they use generally in dash cams or if it's a technical term. But basically, anytime there is a collision or what the dash cam feels is an accident or any kind of impact or jolt, it will lock the footage that is being recorded at that time. So that way, in case, there's an accident, that footage won't get lost or recorded over. So that G-Shock option is really helpful. The looping, which is a capacity that this dashcam also has, is that basically it'll just rewrite footage, so you don't have to constantly go back and erase footage when the SD card gets full, which is helpful because 95% of the time, I wish for both of us, nothing's going to happen on the road. And instead of having to painstakingly go through all the ones to just clear the space in your SD card, micro SD, for you to be able to use the dash cam, it'll automatically re-record over it the old footage.
Yeah.
It has a 3-inch IPS display. I like how it says designed with beautiful software as opposed to ugly software. Also, I didn't know this when I was purchasing it, but the aperture is nice. It's pretty, the aperture is 1.5 in the front and 1.8 in the back, which means that basically it does really well in low light situations. So that's also something to note. It does have the 24-hour parking mode. A lot of dash cams have that, but you do have to buy separate hardware. Basically, you have to I want to say jerry rig, but it's not jerry rigging. You basically have to rig this with hardwired to your card battery, so that way, even if your car is off, if someone does bump your car or there's motion sensor, it'll trigger the recording of that bump or motion. This has a built-in super capacitor. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Not all dash cams do. And the thing about that makes that really important is that unlike other battery-operated dash cams, the super capacitor is really durable, so it's really good in extreme temperatures. So that means when it's really cold or really hot, and it gets really hot in Southern California where we live. So this will be helpful so it won't start bugging out and not working because of the high heat. Okay, so let's get to unboxing, guys. One of the reasons also why I got this one for my mom is that the package is so complete. It's nicely sealed. My sister opened this Amazon box, so I can't really unbox that box. You know how I like to do that with you guys. Because somehow she didn't see that it was addressed to me. So she just opened it. Why not? Bad girl. Okay, so that beautiful plastic wrap, which is nice. You know, it's not been tampered and opened by somebody else. You know how I feel about that. So let me go like that. Okay, so you guys can see the whole view. Okay, so very detailed box here. Oh, how convenient. It just opens like this. It's a hinge. Huh, very nice. Right away, I love the presentation. I love how this is all packaged, so everything's complete. And then you could keep everything in here too, so for ease of use. So this is the 128 gigabyte micro SD card with a micro SD card adapter, which is a very nice touch. So that way you can just be ready to go. You don't have to wait for your SD card or order another one. It's kind of an all-in-one kit. It's very complete. So that's very cool. We've got a manual. It looks very thick. Has a lot of information in, let's see. Oh my. It's all in English actually, which is shocking because it's usually in like English, Chinese, Spanish, sometimes in Dutch or German, which is so interesting because you got to wonder about the marketplace, about who their clientele is. It's nice to have an international marketplace, but it's very, very detailed. Like, tells you exactly what's in there, how to contend with some problems. Very comprehensive. I appreciate that. Most important, please read. I will definitely read this before I put this up. So they're basically telling you to use their micro SD card, even if you want a higher capacity to buy their version. I mean, I suppose they know because they manufactured it, but if you don't want to use their version, you have to get a Class 10 U3 speed and 1 TB or lower, which is a given. And you do have to format it in their dash cam. Oh, this is a 30-second feedback. A chance to win big. Oh, I like that. This is probably good. It's good for prevention, so people won't start stuff with you. The best is when people get really aggressive on the road with you until they realize that you have a dash cam. Sometimes I've had people do a lot of illegal stuff in front of my car, and I just literally point and tap to my dash cam, and they act real correct afterwards. It's funny how people behave when they know they can be held accountable. But it's cute. I like that. Maybe we'll put that on her card on one of her windows. I probably won't. If it's a peel and stick, we'll put it on her window. If not, I could just tape it on there. So if she needs to take it off, she can without having much issue. But maybe it'll be a nice deterrent for people to not act a fool. Very cool. I didn't even know that was... Oh, look at that. So everything's so nicely labeled, so nicely detailed. So... let's pop. I like that they have this. Okay. So I like how they compartmentalize everything. So this is the rear camera. This is the dual USB fast charger. So in case you need to use your cigarette lighter port and you don't want to take up one of the USB ports or your suction cup mount or the sticky mount. I like that they have both options, and this is actually another quality to look for in a dash cam is how you actually hook it up, because a lot of people have said, and we've experienced this, if you're living in places with extreme weather temperatures, such as somewhere that it gets really cold or really hot, you and I both know the suction cup just falls off. So it's nice to have the sticky mount option. So we'll probably go with that one because it is summertime right now. Let me open this guy. It's cool. Okay, cool. So this is the sticky mount. It's for the rear camera. I like that everything's compartmentalized so that way it's not confusing. Sometimes people just put things in a box and you have to like piece it together, and that's never fun. Okay, so this is the USB port charger situation. Cool. And check it out. It has the I think that's for the USB-C. USB-C, and then the regular USB-A port. That's cool. And then, okay, so this is the suction cup situation. I'm not going to open this one only because I don't think we're going to use it. We'll see. And then this is, wow, look how small that dash cam looks. The little rear cam. And I like that this is like the sticky one. It's not like the sealed plastic where it's impossible to remove. See that? Nice. So this is the rear. And then obviously there's like a little sticky here in front of the lens so that doesn't get damaged, or let me focus us. It's hard to tell if it's in focus. Okay, so you're going to remove that before you use it, otherwise you won't be able to see anything. And this is the sticky mount. I also like that it's adjustable. So you could adjust the view. Cool. So that is that. Okay, moving on. I like how I'm like leaving the big enchilada right there in the box. Let's open that up, yeah. Make sure that we have everything. Okay, so according to this box, we have the wire hiding clips. We have the wire trim tool. Two cleaning wipes to clean the surface of where you're going to stick stuff. I think this is the rear cable because it's very thick, which means it's longer. Very cool. I hope it's long enough for, my mom has an SUV. I think it will be. Because some of the reviews definitely talked about that. And this has the 2 cables in here. This is the 12-foot power cable and the 1-meter data cable. Let's make sure. Again, I like that the packaging is so easy. You don't have to even have scissors for it. Yeah, this is definitely right. So the 2 cables. Cool. Now this is the big enchilada. This is the front facing 4K camera. And it comes wrapped. It's not sealed, but it comes wrapped, which is nice. I like that they covered the back, the display, to keep it pristine. And then obviously the front is also covered so that we protect the integrity of the lens, which is important because if you ruin the lens, you ruin the view. It definitely has like the more traditional dash cam, which is like the kind of almost like a digital camera, but that's nice. It's something familiar and similar. It has very well labeled tactical buttons. It's very satisfying click, especially for my mom. She's of the older generation, and it's important that, you know, I purchase items that are easy for her to use and not just for me. I know a lot of us more modern, I don't want to say more modern, the younger generation tend to like touchscreens, but that's not always as helpful. And there is something like when you're driving and like having to do something real quick, like maybe you want to, I think there's a mute. Yeah, you can mute with this. Like if you want to say something to someone and you don't want it recorded, you could just, without looking, click it and you'll hear it. So you know that. I like it. It's nice. It's not too heavy, but it's not flimsy either. Like a nice build quality. So I'm gonna open this up for us. Yay, it looks pretty. Power button, and then this is the SD card slot, micro SD card. Then you have the reset button on the bottom. We have the mic on the bottom to catch all of my mom complaining about me and my sister. We have where you can plug in for power and data. Oh, and I like this. So, and this is to connect with the rear camera. So we turn it on. Our cable. Let's see. Okay. Plug this bad boy in. Okay. Ooh, automatically. It's starting up. Look how nice that screen is. The colors are nice. Oh yeah, this is definitely
Video mode. Please insert micro SD card.
Very cool. Look at how nice the display is. Saying that 4K is going to look really nice on that. So yes, guys. I mean, look how nice that screen is. I'm being serious here. Like, that's going to show the quality, the 4K quality real nice. Because what's the point of having really great footage?
Please
I mean,
insert micro SD card.
Shh, quiet you. But I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go install it for my mom. So nice. Capacity. Oh my God, hold for sound.